This is going to be our hip external rotation, PAILs and rails. So I'll go over a brief overview of what a PAIL and rail is. So PAIL stands for progressive angular isometric loading, which means we are contracting at end range. Think about, we have our arm here like throwing a baseball all the way back here, trying to finish that pitch. That would be the PAIL action. So you're contracting in that end range. The rail, regressive angular isometric loading, is going to be you actively trying to pull back further into that stretch. So with PAILs and rails, we're working on strengthening both sides of the joints. So with the external rotation one on our hip here, we're going to be working, the PAIL will be working on the outside lateral side of that glute, and then the rail will be working more adductor because you're pulling yourself in. So how we're going to set up in this particular PAIL and rail is we're going to be in our 90-90 position here. So we want our front leg, our hip coming out straight from our hips, our knee coming out straight from our hip, and then we're going to have a 90-degree angle in that knee joint. And we're going to make that same angle with our back leg too. So we have two 90-degree angles, front and back. And we want to try to sit up nice and tall and have our hips closed and square to the wall or whatever is in front of you. Okay, so how we're going to perform these is we're going to go into a 1:30 or 2-minute stretch, just a passive stretch of you trying to get to your end range of motion. And how we're going to do this one specifically is we want to try bringing our hips down to the ground, not our chest, and trying to curl our back to get more range of motion. Okay, so we want to feel this all in the hip, and if you can only get here, but this is your end range and your chest and your posture is nice and upright, that's ideal. We don't want to see this where we're just curling, again, our shoulders to the ground and chest trying to squeeze out what we think is more range of motion. That's not how we're going to feel that stretch as best as we can. So again, we're going to pull our hips to the ground. Again, we're going to hang out in this stretch for 2 minutes, and every 5 to 10 seconds, we're going to take a 4-second breath into our belly. So we don't want to go into the shoulders. We want to go nice deep 4-second breath into that belly, and then we're going with an 8-second exhale. And on that exhale, we want to try to sink and relax a little bit deeper as we exhale. And then we're going to hold that, and again, we're going to repeat that 4-second inhale with an 8-second exhale, and we're just sinking deeper and deeper into that stretch until we kind of get into our end range. So we're going to fast forward. Now we're at 2 minutes. So now the PAIL action, we're going to build up to a tension here, or a contraction. Okay, and when we have that contraction, we want to push through that knee and that ankle evenly. So again, when you do that, you're going to feel that outside of that glute start to activate and contract, and that's the feeling we're looking for. So again, we want to do this contraction at end range. So we don't want to come up and then push, because that defeats the purpose of the whole exercise, right? So we're going to be down at end range here, and we're going to build up from 20% to 10% increments. So we're going to go all the way 80% to between 80 and 100% when we first start out. When we get more advanced, we'll go full 100% contractions, but stay in that 80% range when you first start. Okay, so I'm going to build up 10% or 20% effort, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, and we're going to hold 80%, and we're going to hold that contraction for 10 seconds. So we're pushing at 80% effort into that ground through the knee and the ankle for 10 seconds. So 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now, right after that, we're going to try to lift our leg off the ground, but you're not gonna be able to lift that leg off the ground. If you're able to lift that leg off the ground, that means you've come out of your range and you're not at end range anymore. So I should be down here. When I try to lift, what I'm actually doing by lifting is trying to pull myself in deeper, right? So I'm lifting my leg and that just pulls me in deeper, and that's where you get the inside of that hip. Now we're working that part of the joint, strengthening that range there. So we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna try to hold and pull ourselves in for 10 seconds. And then after that 10 seconds, we're gonna then just relax into that new range of motion that we have. And again, focusing on our breathing here, just relaxing and just enjoying that new range of motion that we now have access to. Okay, so that one side should take about between 1 minute 45, minute 50 to 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Okay, and then we're gonna switch sides, and then we're gonna do the same exact thing on the other side. Hold that passive stretch till we get to end range for 2 minutes, and then we're going to push into the ground for a certain percentage for 10 seconds, and then we're gonna pull ourselves in deeper for 10 seconds, and then relax into that stretch for around 30 seconds.